Hey, what's up, everybody? Another great episode of Fourth Person Point of View, baby. Today I wanted to talk about something, but it was so important and heavy, I had to pull out my Outback hat and put it on. My thinking hat. So bear with me. I'm going to go slow with this because it's very deep, and you'll understand why as we move forward. So, if you've been watching the news, you are aware that there's a congressman, and his name is Congressman Al Green. He represents District 9 of Texas. That's down there in that Houston area. So on March the 4th, during President Trump's address to Congress, Congressman Al Green shouted, "You have no mandate." So he waved his cane and said, "You have no mandate." So apparently President Trump was talking about, all his plans. And I think he touched on the subject of healthcare, preferably like Medicaid, which triggered Congressman Al Green because a lot of his constituents in his district are on Medicaid. Now, Medicaid is for people who are poor and low income. Now, on Thursday, the House voted to censure Congressman Al Green with 214 Republicans and 10 Democrats that agreed that he should be censured, which means that he might be removed from certain committees. I didn't get into the details, but that's what he said on another interview. He said they might remove him from certain committees, which I'm not sure what all that entails, but I'm assuming if you're on a committee, it's kind of like a positive thing. But what we want to delve in on this podcast episode right here is, was Congressman Al Green right? Because you remember Congressman John Lewis, he said there's good trouble. Now, so I did a lot of reading because I've heard of Medicaid and Medicare my whole life. I've heard of it, but really never knew what it was. I just actually thought it was for old people. But I did a little bit of reading here. So let me write this on the board for you. So you have you got 79 million Americans that are on this Medicaid program, but it's Medicaid with CHIP, which is something for children. So let me get my information pulled up here. So we said it was 79 people. I'm getting this from AI here. So we got 79 million people enrolled in Medicaid. Let's spell it right there. Yeah. Okay, so 72.1 million on Medicaid. I better write that out for y'all. Now we got, what we say, 7.2 million. And for y'all who don't know, that means million, so on CHIP. Now this CHIP is what does it stand for? Children's Health Insurance Program. So CHIP stands for Children's Health Insurance Program. Whew. Now, let's get to the hard part. So apparently, Medicaid and Medicare was started in the 60s, right? And this right here is like a key political talking point. Usually, Republicans are in favor of cutting Medicaid, and Democrats, they're all for universal health care, helping the poor, helping the needy. Now, they are all for whatever benefits they currently have, and they want more. Now, it's just the nature of the conservatives. They want to cut shit. So, based off what I read, and it's a lot, shit, I suggest y'all read some of it yourself because it's too much. So based on what I read, there's a cap. So basically what happens, the federal government tries to set a cap. Okay, before I tell you that, so every state has its own Medicaid plan. That's where it gets tricky. So no state is the same. So what they do is they let the states go in and create their own system, and they give it like the basic infrastructure. Then the states kind of go in and put their own twist on it based off their population's needs, right? Now, what the Republican Party wants to do is they want to cut it. So apparently under the Affordable Care Act, there was extensions to the program which allowed more leeway, I can say. So doctors here in Texas, like in Congressman Al Green's district, they might say that a elderly person has a problem, an illness. Let's call it an illness. I don't want to say problem. So some person might have an illness, but if the doctor is like a Christian and they're a Democrat and they just love humanity like I do, they might say, well, you have this illness and you're going to need this type of treatment in the future. That's their discretion. Now, on the Republican side, they want to impose caps on the program. So monetary caps. So what they say is, hey, that person needs this treatment and this is all they're going to get. I hope y'all will follow me here. Like I said, this gets tricky, but it's interesting because we need to know this. That way we can understand what the damn hype is about and why Congressman Al Green was just blurting out shit during Trump's address. So what will happen if the Republicans get their way? They're going to cut this. Now, as we talk about the money part, it'll make more sense. Let's go here. How much money, how much does Medicaid cost? Okay, it says in 2023, the federal government paid $606 billion, or 69% of Medicaid's total cost of $880 billion. States paid the remaining $274 billion, or 31%. So it's kind of similar to individual insurance. You know, your insurance company kind of pay the majority of it, and then you have the co-pay, or you pay your little bit. So this is kind of like done on a state level. So the federal government says we're going to pay this amount, and then the state pays the rest. But the federal government, as you see in 2023, they paid $606 billion, and the states only paid $274 billion. Now, this is 2023 data. Now, the problem comes when the federal government says we're going to cut our spending. So if the federal government cuts in the 2023 budget, even though we're talking about today, but follow me, we got to use some kind of figure. So if the federal government says out of this $606 billion, we're going to cut it in half of $303 billion, that means that the states are going to have to either pay more or less, because this thing has got corrupt. So one article I read talked about how you got all these damn lobbyists. They said you got lobbyists who have worked themselves into the damn system where some of the state aid is not going to the proper patients, I guess you can say, patients and doctors. So that's one of the problems with America. You know, you always get somebody who want to stick their damn hand in the cookie jar, and that runs prices up or takes away the resources where you can't focus on all the people who need it. Now, under the Affordable Care Act, President Obama somehow, some way added an extension, which, like I just said, if that doctor felt like you needed something else, from what I read, the doctor could extend monetary aspect of your health care. So under what President Trump and the Republican Party want to do, I don't think they're going to do away with the whole program, but they're going to put a cap on it. So for instance, say President Obama. So if President Obama, which he's not, but we're going to use it. So if he was on Medicaid because he was, let's say he was old. Well, let's say he was poor because he's a rich guy, but let's say he was poor. So if President Obama was poor, him and Donald Trump, let's make it EO. So if President Trump and President Obama were poor and they both had to have a wheelchair. If the wheelchair costs $100 and Medicaid pays 75% and somebody else pays 25%. Now, the doctor can say, well, you have a wheelchair, but you're going to also need a walker. You see where I'm going? So if the doctor says President Trump and President Obama both have wheelchairs, but they need a walker or a cane when they're in their house, seems like under the Affordable Care Act, the doctors had options to keep expanding things. Now, under this Republican system, they're going to say your ass need a wheelchair and you need the cheapest goddamn wheelchair you can get. No more, no less. If one of the damn wheels fuck up, you better goddamn go steal one off a bicycle. That's what the Republican Party is saying, basically. Now, on the flip side, the Republicans are finna cut. They finna cut this number down. And out of that $606 billion for 2023, somebody is gonna get the shit end of the stick. Because you got 79 million people enrolled. Let's make sure that's 2025 there. I think it was. Yes, this is 2025. This is 2025 data. So this is interesting here. So let's see if we can get a 2025 number. That'll put us in there. How much does it cost government? At least 2024. Oh, okay. That's better. You know, you have to guide AI's ass. AI be fucking up sometime. So it says in fiscal year 2024, the federal government spent approximately $584.4 billion. And so we said it was $303 billion in 2023. So as you can see, it's constantly increasing, which because we got more people going into poverty because of this damn economy. Now, if you do the math, I mean, look like we're going up. So 2025s will probably boot up about another. Well, actually, did we come down? What was, okay. So 2023, the federal government paid $606 billion. Yeah, I caught that. 2023, the federal government paid $606 billion. And 2024 was $584 billion. Okay, so it went down a little bit, the amount they paid. So it actually went down, which is good. Not much, but a little bit. Now, what President Trump's finna do, because President Trump's not a normal Republican. He's a rich Republican. He's a billionaire. So he really finna goddamn take a butcher knife to this shit. Now, what we want to talk about here, we keeping our focus on Congressman Al Green. He said you have no mandate. Now, when the Republicans make these damn cuts, somebody out this 79 million finna get the shitty end of the stick. And I'm laughing, but it's not funny. Now, I'm concerned, like most of y'all, probably about this 7.2 million children. Can you imagine 7.2 million children? What's 79% of our population, about 22, 23%? That's kind of like that's a lot of damn people. But these children here, 7.2 million children on chip, somebody, one of them gonna get caught too. They're not, like when they cut this, they probably gonna try to cut it by 20 or 30%. I'm assuming if shit, they would probably cut it as low as they could. So Congressman Green, I understand what he's trying to say, man. He's actually right. And I feel like, because he's a very smart guy, for him to say something during President Trump's address, I think Congressman Green, because he's a politician, he's probably read, he's been in this shit like 20 or 30 some years. He's almost 80 years old. He's probably read this literature like deep, and he knows the ins and outs. So you finna get some of these children who they gonna get cut. It's something to think about, ain't it? It is. That's why I had to put my Outback hat on. Like, you should read some of the literature. Trust me, it's a passable amount online. You're not going to run out. It's too much. So this has been a debate for like so damn long. So I don't think he was wrong. I mean, if you factor in the reality, considering the fact this is the United States of America, we're one of the wealthiest superpower societies on the planet. I mean, we're giving Ukraine, what Trump say, $350 billion for a damn war that they couldn't win no damn way. We got to be careful. $350 billion for a damn war, and what we said, 584 billion. You see, well, that's how I look at it. You giving. Let's double check here. I might be off. How much did America give Ukraine? It doesn't say on here. Okay, well, it's a bunch of little miscellaneous numbers. It said in 2022, the United States has committed approximately $56.3 billion. Trump said 350 something in that damn interview, unless he was just exaggerating. But the point I'm making, I mean, if we got money to be giving people for wars they couldn't win no way, I mean, I feel like we really got to think about this, especially these damn 7.2 million children, and then this 72.1. Now, based off what I read, only males that are included in this is males under the age of 18. The rest of it, well, and a few elderly, but the majority of this comes from women and children. A lot of it is pregnant women. And if you are male, which you're a child technically under the age of 18, you are involved in this. But I think between 18 and 60, not a lot of males are in this right here. So it's basically women and children. But back to what we're talking about here with Congressman Al Green, I think it puts you in a situation where you really got to think about this, because you got a lot of children, you got a lot of damn children that need this. And like I said, since our economy is kind of fluctuating right now, we don't know who is going to end up dropping to a different tax bracket and who might end up needing this. Let me see one more thing. Let me see if they'll give us a number of the cut. How much do see if it'll give us some I got a lot of articles on here. Okay, let's see if we can see these proposed cuts here. Let's bear with me here. I told you I'll be on here in real time. Shit, I usually don't prepare too much. Well, okay, this is on AmericanProgress.com. It says the Republican House budget resolution's potential $880 billion in Medicaid cuts by congressional districts. Medicaid charges occur nearly 1 in 4 Americans, including low-income families. Okay, let's see what they give us something. Well, it says the Republican House budget resolution currently under consideration instructs the House Energy and Commerce Committee to cut at least $880 billion in costs through 2034. Okay, so it says table 1 below shows potential federal funding losses by district if the $880 billion in cuts were to be proportional to current Medicaid and CHIP enrollment using 2023 American Community Survey data from the U.S. Census Bureau. On average, each congressional district would lose $2 billion in federal funding over 9 years. Okay. So you heard me when I first started. I told you every state's different. They all have the similar infrastructure, but they let the state kind of allocate their own little resources and say how it's going to be ran. So if every state loses $2 billion, that's not what I want. I want a better number so we can get a snapshot. Well, because it's saying 880 billion, so I'm wondering, are they using different figures? Okay. This here says oh, wow. Okay, so it also said it covers 60% of nursing home residents and nearly 30% of non-elderly adults with mental illness, as well as about 1 in 3 people with disabilities. See, it's a lot of people riding on there. Oh, okay, that's what I wanted to see. Damn. Okay. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Gave me a snapshot. So it says, and this is CNN politics here. It says up to 20 million people could lose their benefits, according to KFF. So that's CNN. I mean, they're sometimes. So 20 million. We're gonna say CNN kind of blew their numbers out of the water. So we're gonna say 15, just to be on the safe side. So 15 million people, that's still a lot of people. If you cut 15 million out of there, that's still a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Shit, that's a lot of people. Man. See, there's so much on here. There's so many damn articles about this, about Medicaid. But that's what we're gonna ride with there. Let's look at this source. What is KFF? See how much we can trust them. Okay, it's an independent source for health policy research. Okay, so independent. Let's see if we can get one more. I want is that 20 million. You don't want to take one source, especially CNN, because Fox will report that shit a different way. But like I said, we'll say 15 million just because between 15 million and 20 million, that's a lot of damn people. You see where I'm going with this? So if 15 million people get cut, some of them are going to be children. Some of them are going to be children. And I guess when I say this is a tough subject here too, I'm thinking like from their perspective. That's why it's so heavy, because it's kind of like you got to make a decision to a certain degree. Like, I mean, you know, it's kind of, I'm not going to call it population control because that's such an ugly word, but that's kind of sort of what they're doing. I mean, I mean, a lot of them damn Republicans grew up poor. Like the Speaker of the House, his ass didn't come from wealth. He grew up, his daddy was a disabled fireman. But if you think about cutting 15 million people from here, what are they going to do? Hey, you see where I'm going with this? That's a big decision. I mean, can you wrap your brain around it? And that's 15 million. I'm using the 15 million just saying, what if CNN kind of, you know, what if they exaggerate? But if it's 20, whew, damn. Good God. That's a lot. That is a lot. Damn. That is a lot. Damn. I'm up here thinking about, wow. As I look at this number here, I'm thinking about all the poor people. Think about all the poor people, people with mental illnesses, all the damn children here. Damn. That's deep, man. That is deep. Oh, wow. And then I guess on the flip side, you wonder, why is it even political? See where I'm going with this? I mean, how is it even political? Like, it's political. Like it's a political debate of like, we're going to cut funding. And when we cut funding, we're taking away coverage for millions of people. And either way you go, it's jacked up. And then you factor in that 7.2 million kids, they're going to get caught up in there too. So I understand Congressman Al Green. I do. I understand it. I do. I understand it, man. I understand it. I do. I do. I understand it. Think about that. I mean, I don't know if you thinking as deep as I'm thinking about it though, but these are people, shit. That's human capital. That's the thing about it. And I guess Trump's a billionaire and he ain't the richest man on the planet. But I'm a common man like most of y'all. And you just think about somebody cutting these damn, you're trying to cut 15 to 20 million people off coverage. So where would they go? Like, what would they do? Let's ask AI to see what she say. Let's see something here. If Medicaid was cut, I mean, that's what it says. It just says millions would be without health care or any coverage. Okay, depleting federal Medicaid funds would force state programs to restrict eligibility and reduce services, removing care from those who need it the most. Damn. Oh man, that's jacked up too. It says 40% of all births in the U.S. are financed by Medicaid. So hell, I'm thinking, well, I guess children. So I guess the children are going to be in there too. So you got 40% of all births. That's crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy. That's all I can say. I'm speechless. I mean, how about y'all think about it? If you was the president or a governor, what would you do? I mean, if you had to cut the budget, like if and I understand on the flip side, our budget has got out of hand. So we got to make cuts in certain places. But could you cut the budget and take 15 to 20 million people off the only safety net they have? And I'm thinking here, we just had a federal layoff. The economy is not the best in the world, even though they're creating jobs. People are still kind of roaming around. I just watched Colonel from the Department of State talk with another guy, and he said that there was a report said that we have like 100 million Americans, I think new Americans or something. I don't know if he was taking the numbers that were from 2025 along or something else, but he did say, and he's a redoubtable source. He worked with Colin Powell, but he said President Trump needs to be worried about these 100 million Americans on welfare. So I think it might be 100 million new, but he spoke of it like it was an issue. So what I'm assuming and what I got from that video was that this is a new problem that's growing in America because of the economy. So that's a lot of damn people. So I'm betting you that this damn number right here is probably going to go up. Probably 1 to 3, 4 million, maybe 1 to 4 million, which means all this will go up. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Oh man. And so I guess Congressman Al Green, like I said, he's got all this literature. He knows this in and out. I just gave it a cursory glance, and it's got me scratching my damn head. So he probably know the ins and outs. He's probably got a metrics broke down of the types of, I'm sure they can pull this from their states. He's probably got a metrics broke down of all the children on it, what type of illnesses they have. He's probably got a metrics broke down of all the people over 18 to 100 that's on this and the illnesses they have. And I guess what he probably say that don't take a rocket science. And y'all know what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like we finna let people, die. I mean, I mean, how else can I say it? It's like if you throw people off off the only safety net they have and they poor, you kind of just throwing them off the fucking cliff. That's a hell of a decision though, man. I'm speechless. And I guess when I'm looking at these numbers, I'm not looking at, this is not money. This is not fucking money right here. This is not $70 million. This is 79 million damn people. This is human capital here. These are American citizens. Damn. 72.1 Medicaid and 7.2 million children. 7.2 million children. So I don't think Congressman Al Green was wrong. Because like I said, I know he know way more than we know. That's crazy, man. That's something deep. And I'm a Christian, even though I use profanity. I do fear God, trust me. And from a Christian perspective, how would America look in the global community if 15 to 20 million Americans was pushed off the system? And maybe, I don't know if they would have some type of merit system among themselves. I don't know if the doctors, if the state doctors were forced to like make some arrangements and restructure things. I'm wondering would the children like have priority over everybody, and you push the elderly people off, which that's somebody's grandparents. That's crazy. Then I'm wondering would Congress like take away money from other countries and like take that and spend on American citizens, because we do have aid that goes to other countries. So I'm wondering, would they be kind enough to like take that money and reroute it to the Americans? But it's still a double-edged sword, because that means somebody in another European place or Africa or somewhere, they would go without. So I understand. I kind of understand what Congressman Al Green was probably saying. And if you think about it, it's something that you should interrupt the president for. Oh, man. Now, in this 37 minutes that I've been on this podcast looking at these damn numbers, I kind of understand why President Obama kind of was big on advocating for the affordable health care. I had no idea. I've never looked at this from this perspective here. Damn. I see why President Obama was all for health care. It makes sense. I didn't know it. Like, this is fucked up. Man. I'm speechless. I'm looking at this number. This is 79 million people. Shit. That's a lot of people. Man. And I'm using the 15 million in my head. And if CNN, if they not trolling and they say 20 million people could actually lose health care, and like their numbers are right, and the source they got them from, if 20 million people, man, if 20 million people, man, and you subtract 20 million people from that number there, good God. Oh, man, that's even worse. Damn. And then, like I said, worst case scenario, depending on their illnesses, like, damn, what happens? Wow. So y'all tell me, 79 million people, 72.1 million on Medicaid, and 7.2 million children on the CHIP program. Was Congressman Al Green wrong for interrupting President Trump? Or was he the only one in there with guts? That's deep. 20 million people. Damn. I wanted to read something to you. This right here is a book I'm reading called The Free Citizen. I picked it up because it was a classic book. And I like to collect these old books because, you know, one day somebody might be like, hey, you got this book, I'll give you $1 million for it. So that's why I collect books sometimes. But this is Theodore Roosevelt. It's called The Free Citizen. And based off what Congressman Al Green, what he's going through, I'm going to read this little excerpt for you. It says, we can afford to differ on the currency, the tariff, and foreign policy. But we cannot afford to differ on the question of honesty if we expect our republic permanently to endure. There is a soul in the community, a soul in a nation, just exactly as there is a soul in the individual. And exactly as the individual hopelessly mars himself if he lets his conscience be dulled by the constant repetition of unworthy acts, so the nation will hopelessly blunt the popular conscience if it permits its public men continually to do acts which the nation, in its heart of hearts, knows are acts that cast discredit upon our whole public life. This has been another episode of 4th Person Point of View. I'm out. Damn.